Hi everyone, this is Alert Day Trading. The purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades, notice any mistakes I'm making, see if there's any corrections I could be making. If you can learn from any of my mistakes, any of my ideas about the markets, that's definitely a positive. So I took a few trades today. It's the end of the week. If you saw any of my previous videos, you'll see that I was talking about a couple trades I took early in the week that I was very disappointed with. So I'm bouncing back from those trades. I'm happy with my trading discipline. There are a couple things that I'd like to point out to myself to try and improve. So let's just go over the trades and talk about those minor mistakes that are, I think, easily fixed. So the first trade I took today was PLUG. So my first entry was with the 1 minute time frame, and this one ended up being a loser. So as we broke above this level right here, with this candle, I waited for a pullback and I did get it. It ended up, this was my entry, and obviously you can see it went higher from my entry. But my risk level was, let's see, if I'm entering around 42 cents, my risk is about 67 cents. So about 85 cents or so is my risk amount. And we went up all the way to the 90s. So I would have made about 50 cents per share, but my risk level was 85 cents. So if I'm trying to get a one-to-one risk to reward, I'm hoping for, $53.30, about 30 cents. So we didn't get that high. And then as you can see, the stock turned around and ended up getting stopped out. So it took a small loss on that, but that's okay. I guess the only thing that I, could have minimized my losses by raising my stop loss with the EMA, which I do like to do. I don't always do it. It depends on the market conditions, but everything kind of moved really quickly in this case. But I try not to raise my stop loss until I've reached my first profit target. After that, then I'll pretty much raise it to break even. And then as the price continues in my favor, then I pretty much follow the EMA in that case. So that was the first trade I took. I pretty much broke even on the day. I took maybe some more trades I would have preferred to take in general, but I'm still happy with the day to break even according to my strategy. And then on the next trade I took was on RIOT. And here, okay, so this was a mistake I kind of made. And so the entry was right as this red candle broke above this red candle. And we're talking about a couple cents here where I end my order entry. My entry order was triggered. And as you can see, we pretty much had a big red candle here. And just by a few cents, I ended up getting stopped out. So this was a small loss. But then I ended up taking a second entry on the same two candles. I figured, this was just too close to, I'm pretty much okay trying for the same trade again. And as you can see, in this case, it worked out. And I also entered with a 3 minute time frame. So I made a couple mistakes here, and these are really minor mistakes according to my trade plan. Right now, I'm really focused on doing one trade at a time. So sometimes I'll be in a trade, for example, I'll be in an RIOT, but then I'm jumping back to PLUG, and I'm trying to focus on two tickers at the same time, and then a third ticker will pop up, and now I'm possibly entering three trades at the same time. And sometimes it works out, where I'll end up with a couple winners at the same time. But it started to get overwhelming when, I would have two or three of those tickers be losers all at the same time. And it ended up feeling like I did take one trade, but I ended up losing 3 times my risk amount. So even though I followed my trade plan for each of those tickers, it still felt like I was oversizing. So, and the other thing is, it was more difficult. It's more difficult for me to manage, my stop losses, or, sometimes if I see a stock really close to my profit target by like just a few cents, and I don't want to risk the stock turning around just because it's a few cents away when I could be taking profits. And if I'm not watching the stock, I can't easily do that. If I'm paying attention to another stock. So same with the stop loss. If the stock is going in my favor, and normally I would raise my stop loss, but I'm not watching it, then I'll end up giving away more profits than I would have originally given away if I had been watching that specific stock. So I'm really focused on trading just one ticker at a time, and I've been doing really good with that. But something that I do also is, if I enter, for example, RIOT, like I mentioned, I entered the 1 minute time frame here. So I was in the trade and being profitable, and then the greed comes in, and I entered the 3 minute time frame. And in this case, I still ended up being profitable on both time frames. So I ended up taking twice the amount of profits I would have taken if I had just stayed with the 1 minute time frame. So yeah, there's good potential upside, but then the problem is, and it happened later on, where I entered PLUG again later in the day. I did end up taking a winner on that, but then I also took a loser because I went in with a second time frame. So if I just stuck with the one time frame, probably would be profitable at the end of the day. I'm pretty much break even with a really, small loss on the day. But I'm still, I consider this a break even day. So anyway, I entered RIOT on the 3 minute over here. And as you can see, we were profitable. And then I ended up stopping out at some, break even levels and so on. Let's see, I took another trade. It's 25.92. Let's see where that is here. Yeah, so that was right here. But I also think I took it on the 5 minute chart. Let's see. No, looks like it was just the 1 minute and the 3 minute. Yeah, that's right. So that was the one loss I took here, and then the one winner I took here, and then in the 3 minute, the other winner on RIOT. Pretty much followed my plan to the T, so very happy with those trades. Another winner I took was JAGX. And this one I used the 1 minute time frame. And so as you can see here, we were pretty much consolidating. And as we broke above these levels right here, that's when I got interested. And then I entered on this pullback here. And here I'm entering around 378, risking below 367. So about 10 to 15 cents risk. We went all the way up to 394. So almost about 1 to 1.5 risk to reward on this trade. Obviously hoping for a break above $4, but we didn't get it. You can see that just started trending downward, ended up getting stopped out at break even, but I did end up being profitable on the trade. So, and then the last few trades I took, so like I mentioned, a few more trades than I would have preferred to take, and I'll get more into that about over trading. So the last trades I took today, I got alerted that PLUG was breaking above their high of days, and it was right around here. And I actually entered right here, hoping for a continuation on the breakout. Obviously, we didn't get it, so I ended up stopping out. So that was a small loss. And then I re-entered the trade with the 3-minute time frame. And this is being a nice winner. So let's see. And it's right here. I entered on this candle. So same levels, we were breaking up above the high of days earlier in the day. And then we had a pullback and I entered right above this candle. Ended up being profitable. Ended up being stopped out at break even on the remainder of my shares, which is a little frustrating because as you can see, we pushed even higher and I would have almost had about, let's see if I'm risking, is it 28, about 50, 60 cents. We're at 53.30, $2.60. So that's about, would have, if we didn't stop out here at break even, I would have had a risk to reward of 1 to 4, which is really good. Still ended up profitable on that trade. And then the mistake I made was so here's the 3-minute as well, 3-minute time frame, and then here's the 5-minute time frame. I entered in this trade right here. So I was already in the trade with the 3-minute time frame. And as we were pushing higher and being profitable, I ended up selling out on the push, but I also entered on the 5-minute time frame. So if you think about it, this is what I'm trying to get away from. And yeah, it worked out on RIOT, but it didn't work out on PLUG. And so as I'm being profitable on the 3-minute, I ended up taking a loser on the 5-minute. So it canceled out my profits. And if I had, let's say, taken a loss on the 3-minute, then I would have doubled my loss. So here's why I don't like to do this. If RIOT, I took 2 winners because I went in with 2 time frames. Okay. If I had just taken that 1 winner and then stuck with the 3-minute time frame only, I would still end up with 2 winners. So I'm doubling my risk. I've doubled my profits in the day just because I stuck to the 1 time frame at a time. But by trading multiple time frames, so I took 2 winners on RIOT, a winner on PLUG, so that's 3 winners, and then here is PLUG, a loser on the 5-minute. So it ends up pretty much being the same. Just because I'm trying to double my profits, I ended up making the same amount I would have if I had just done 1 trade at a time. So the point is to minimize risk. And by entering multiple trades, you are increasing the risk of 1, doubling your losses, and 2, giving away profits. So I would have just easily had 2 winners and no losses versus having 3 winners and 1 loss. So it ends up being the same, taking less trades. And then let's just say the 3-minute ended up being a loser. Well, I'm managing my risk. So now I can decide, do I want to enter the 5-minute or not? And then I can just treat it as its own trade. I wouldn't have entered it anyway because I was already in the 3-minute. And this might not be too clear, but it's my thought process, and it's kind of what I'm going through right now. Let me just show you. If I had taken a loss on the 3-minute, and then I ended up taking a loss on the 5-minute, well, look at the 10-minute. The 10-minute ended up being a winner if I had taken the trade. I didn't take it because I'm done for the day. I didn't want to enter any more trades. But the 10-minute ended up being a winner. So hypothetically, if I took one trade at a time, the 3-minute would be a winner, the 5-minute would be a loser, and then the 10-minute would be a winner. So I'm ending up with 1 winner. If I stick to one trade at a time, in this case, the 3-minute was a winner. So that's just 1 winner. So it ends up being the same. So that's the point I'm trying to make for myself, is there's not really a huge importance of jumping into trades with multiple time frames. It's not going to be the biggest difference in terms of P&L, in my opinion. If I'm thinking to try and double or triple my profits, at the same time I'm risking doubling, tripling my losses. So anyway, this is a small sample size. It would make more sense to use it in larger size. But my experience, when I enter trades with multiple time frames, it usually doesn't work out. It's usually not worth the extra risk. And for me, when I focus on one trade at a time, one time frame at a time, I'm usually profitable at the end of the day. And I'm usually not giving away profits. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on. My most important thing going forward for 2021 is to only trade one ticker at a time. Once I'm in a trade, nothing matters except managing that trade, regardless what other stocks are doing. And I'm only using one time frame at a time. And the only way that I will enter a trade while I'm in another trade is after I've taken at least 2 profit targets and I'm using a trailing stop loss. So I don't need to be watching the trade the whole time. So the trailing stop loss increases my potential and also reduces my risk by raising my stop loss as the stock continues in my favor. So that's the only way that I will enter multiple trades. All right, well, that's it for today. Good luck. Remember, the purpose of this video and the videos I make is to journal my trades, notice any mistakes I'm making, focus on corrections I could be making, and good luck.